Chainlink is going to $50 sooner than you think, and there are 3 key reasons why. Number 1 is BlackRock. Number 2 is something in the charts that I've identified. And number 3 is a secret metric nobody is talking about. It's time to discover crypto. All right, folks, the first thing I said was the charts, and you can see Chainlink has just been on an upward trajectory for a month now. You can see it kind of started in October of 23, and Chainlink just hasn't shown any signs of slowing down. But right now, we're in a little bit of a rising wedge on the 3-day chart right here. But I wanted to point something out, folks, because last time you felt things were going to slow down, all we did is touch the bottom of this channel before we went and ended up touching the top of the channel. And you can see we're touching the top right now again. Now, I do predict we are going to maybe come back down to the bottom part of this channel. And you can see right there on the price action, potentially Chainlink will go below $20 again. I would not be surprised whatsoever. But if we do break out, Chainlink is going to set in some brand new all-time highs, folks. And you can see if we break out at the top of this channel the next couple days, that's going to give us close to a $48, $49, $50 Chainlink. And so people are not ready for the breakout if and when it happens. And it happened before, folks. I think it's going to happen again. But beware, I do think we're going to end up touching the bottom of this channel before we end up breaking out again. So that's your warning right there. Now, the second metric I said is going to be the BlackRock angle on why Chainlink can still hit $50 sooner than you think. Now, the first BlackRock angle is just an alignment of incentives right now. You can see BlackRock has been making many statements about tokenized identity as well as real-world assets. And tokenized identity is a main pillar of Chainlink, but not that many people know about it. It actually comes from their DECO program, and DECO is something that they actually have a patent on, and DECO is just basically decentralized oracles here. And this is a patent that was first filed almost 5 years ago, folks, and BlackRock is going to have a huge involvement within tokenized identity, which I do think is going to be inevitable. And it looks like Chainlink is going to be the infrastructure, and by having the patent, it's going to be a needed participant in this ecosystem. And when I say there's an alignment of ideals here, folks, this is BlackRock and tokenization. This is what BlackRock is identifying the key sectors. Every single one of these screams to me Chainlink. Number 1, oracles. Well, Chainlink is an oracle. RWAs, aka real-world assets. Well, Chainlink is making a huge push into the RWA ecosystem. Next is DeFi. Honestly, you can't have DeFi on Ethereum without Chainlink. Next would be infrastructure. Chainlink is going to be huge with that with their CCIP protocol. More on that later. And then next is the interoperability. And CCIP, the I stands for interoperability. So all 5 things BlackRock is focused on is a problem that Chainlink solves. So I just can't help but see a future marriage between Chainlink and BlackRock. And then last but not least, for the BlackRock angle, there is a secret whale buying tons and tons of Chainlink. Who is that secret whale? No one knows who that secret whale is, but I would not be surprised if it isn't a BlackRock insider. It's, BlackRock subsidiary or just BlackRock themselves getting ready for potential ETF news, potential CCIP integration. Now, before we go into the secret metric I was talking about, and the third and final metric is the reason I'm most bullish on Chainlink and why I think it can hit $50, just a double click on CCIP. CCIP is Chainlink's cross-chain interoperability protocol, and the goal of CCIP is to create seamless interoperability between all on-chain ecosystems and connect Web 2 to Web 3 with a single layer, ultimately enabling an internet of contracts in the world's largest liquidity layer for tokenized assets. And who's going to have a hand in the world's largest liquidity layer? It's going to be BlackRock, everybody. Now, the CCIP takes me to my final metric here and why I'm most bullish on Chainlink. And folks, buckle up because I'm actually trying to come in more bearish than normal, but this moon math is really telling me that $1,000 Chainlink is in the cards, everyone. So we go to CCIP. They're actually making fees with the CCIP. So the CCIP is generating revenue, and we're going to talk about the revenue of Chainlink in a little bit. Now, this is a month-by-month breakdown of how much revenue is accumulated by Chainlink. You can see October, very small amount, $17,000. I mean, that's basically a popular lemonade stand in New York City. But then, all right, the next month, then it's up to 36, 34. All right, now we're starting to see a real increase, 66,000. Then we go to last month, February, 494,000. And now we're only halfway through this month and we just passed over 1 million. But it has skyrocketed over the last couple days. I've did a little bit of sleuthing here and I found a pretty interesting tweet. Now, this guy tweeted 7 hours ago. He's talking about how much revenue started to grow. You saw we're over 1 million in March. Folks, just a day ago, 750,000. So it went from 750K all the way to 940K, and then you fast forward to today, and again, hours ago, 950. Fast forward to now we are above $1 million. You can see it right there, 1.1. And by the time I hit upload, this is probably going to be 1.2, 1.3. So we're seeing serious revenue just in the past 24 hours. And we're gonna lower the math. 250 was essentially at 1 million. We're really at 350, pushing 400K. Just in revenue in the past 24 hours. I'm going to lower it, and we're going to come in with a number of, let's just say they've made $300,000 in the past 24 hours. But where I get really, really bullish, this isn't open to everyone. Not everyone is using the CCIP. If we look here, CCIP is actually in its mainnet early access phase. It's only using a few blockchains. They have Avalanche, Ethereum, OP, and Polygon, but they've also added Base and a couple others. So it isn't open to every protocol. It isn't open to every company, and it isn't open to every chain. This is still early access, and it isn't open to you and me. And so once this is open to everybody, I expect huge surges in revenue. Now, what is that number going to be? Folks, if I had to guess, I think we're only about 5% with this early access. I still think there's 95% of the ecosystem has yet to get their hands on this or users of this. And so I could easily see a 20x in revenue. And now it's time for the math portion. This is where you're going to get very, very bullish. Now, there's a metric that you see in stocks, and that is the price to earnings ratio. And we're going to use the price to earnings ratio with the CCIP fees to figure out what is the valuation of Chainlink. And you trust me when I say you are not bullish enough. Now, let's just look at a couple examples. We're going to look at Apple and NVIDIA. I think Chainlink's going to be closer to NVIDIA ratio here. So Apple's price to earnings ratio is 26. We're going to just round down and say it's about 25. So for every dollar that they earn, they are worth $25. That gives them a price to earnings ratio of 25. You look at NVIDIA, it is above 200. Now, I think 217, it's a little bit inflated right now. We're going to come in much lower and give Chainlink a price to earnings ratio of 100. So it's higher than Apple, but it's lower than NVIDIA. And I wanted to go crazy bullish. I would just use 217. I'm trying to come in conservative, and still these numbers are insane. Now, let's start doing a little bit of math. Now, we can see that they've earned, just say, roughly $300,000 in the past 24 hours. Again, it's actually higher than that, but we're going to be a little bit more conservative. All right, so they made around roughly $300,000 in the past 24 hours. Well, there's 365 days in a year, and that gives us $109 million. Now, we said we're going to have a price to earnings ratio of about 100. And so that means the valuation needs to be 100 times this. And then that's going to give us a $10 billion valuation. You can see it right here. But folks, I'm not actually done right now. So we got a $10 billion valuation. However, I think blockchain isn't being used nearly as much today as it will be during the bull market. When the bull market is here, and when retail is here, and when people are doing DeFi swaps more, this usage is going to 10x, 20x, at least, and probably if I had to be as conservative as possible, I would say it's at least going to have 5x the volume and the transaction count, say 12 months from now. So we're going to go ahead and 5x this one more time, and then that's going to be the final moon math. And folks, this is a lot closer to where I see the true valuation for Chainlink. And to me, the true valuation is closer to $54 billion. And I'm just going to round and say roughly $50 billion. And I think 5x for more usage of Chainlink in the future is actually conservative. Again, I think it's closer to 10, but $50 billion is still incredibly small market cap compared to where we're at right now. It is only a $12 billion market cap. Now, again, I'm coming in conservative. I think it could be a 200 instead of a 100 earnings to price ratio. I think 4x, 5x is pretty conservative as well as far as usage increasing. And so when I come in with a $50 billion valuation, that is me trying to be as bearish as as possible, as conservative as possible, because I really want to say something like $100 billion, $200 billion market cap. And $100 billion market cap is putting us at an 8x. But even so, right now at $50 billion, that is a 4x from these levels. And if you look at that, that is an $80 Chainlink. So I think Chainlink valued at $20, $21, very, very undervalued. I would watch this little bit of a rising wedge that we're in. I think it could dip to the downside before we go off into the races. But with all the fees coming into Chainlink right now with the CCIP, and as bullish as BlackRock is, you are insane if you don't try to get your hands as much Chainlink as possible right now. Well, I'm DZ for Discover Crypto, and hopefully I'll see you on this side of the fence with your Chainlink.